let me know when you're ready, sir. And so we're going to be at that time. Sounds good. And I need you to put your hand up or somebody asks questions. Make sure y'all can. Welcome everyone to You Change Studios, where we feature stories of heroes. Again, today we have two authors. I am excited about these ladies who have pressed through some storms, pressed through some, and had to weather some stuff, right? And have came out and produced some books as it relates to some of their some of the things that they've been through, right? So I have Latoya Williams, and she is a two-time author. One of her books is entitled Pieces of Me, Matters of a Poet's Heart, and the other one, Pieces of Me, Matters of a Poet's Heart, Volume 2. And so Latoya will be sharing, and the other author, oh, listen, when I say bad to the bone, honey, when I say a young lady who done, y'all see? All right. But her name is Jasmine Pope, and she is the author of In the Middle. In the Middle. Some of you may be watching and feeling like you're in the middle of something. You know, you're not quite there and not quite right. And so she's going to be sharing her story, and so we're going to be transparent. They're going to share with you why they wrote the book, and if you have any questions, we want you to ask questions. Type it in the chat, type it in the box, ask questions. We are here for it. Again, those of you who have a desire to write your book, ask questions about it. What is the process? I will definitely be asking some questions. We'll be going back and forth. But first, I want to start with Latoya. How are you?
I am great. Great.
So, Latoya, share with us the volume. Talk to us about the purpose, like the process, and all of that of you writing these two books.
Okay, well, the process it started a long time ago, and I started to keep a journal. I started to write every day. I remember the first time I really indulged into writing, I was reading this book, and I was like, it was like a 40-day prayer book, and every day I just started to write and journalize. And it was, I think I was probably in undergraduate school, so it was a long time ago. But and then at the end of each day, I would write a little poem. At the end of my journaling, I would write little poems. Sometimes it'd be 4 lines, sometimes it'd be 2 lines, 6 lines, you know. And so Pieces of Me, Volume 1, actually was published in 2011. So that book is 10 years old, but it's so new, even as I was reading it, even today, because it's broken up into 4 sections. The heart beats, the heart lives, the heart heals, and the heart loves. And in each part is an introduction. And one of my favorite phrases is, we have a pause, because that's when the heart starts to beat. I don't know about y'all, but I've been through some situations where I thought I died and I wanted to die, but I didn't hear the doctors, but the doctor was like, we have a pulse. You're still here. So there is still the beat, right? And so after the pause, though, what comes next? Because the pause says, I can live, I'm alive, but what happens after I have to live, right? After I thought I died, and I did die a couple of times, right? But I got to live now. And so I have this pulse, I have this beat, and I have life. But what good is life if you are wounded and shattered and shackled and whatever else? You know what I mean? So that's where then the heart heals, right? And 2 very important things in the healing process, right? Naturally and spiritual, 2 things. One is rest, and the other is a proper diet, right? So in order for this heart to heal, we got to rest because you can't overactivate the heart, right? Because you'll be in the middle of the floor. But that goes the same way with your emotions. You got to rest. You got to pull back from everything, right? To rest it. Spiritually, sometimes you just got to pull back. I'm an ordained elder, but there are times I have to just pull back, all the way back. Just sit on down somewhere, right? Okay, y'all know what I'm talking about. Just sit down. But during that time of rest, and even more so, the proper diet is very important. What we are consuming in our natural bodies, you know what I'm saying? If we want to lose 5 pounds, we got to put those Snickers and Twix away, okay? You know, you probably can go back and take a little bite after a while, but you got to put it away. I remember this book called The 3 Hour Diet, right? And he wrote it because his father was a heart patient and he had to eat every 3 hours, but he couldn't have this certain stuff that he could not have, right? So in my natural body, in my physical body, in my emotions, I can have no drama when you're trying to heal your emotions. You got to stay away from the drama, right? The drama, okay? You got to stay away from that. And if you're trying to rebuild spiritually, you got to stay away from some devils, right? Some devil, and sometimes we the devil, right? So we got to, what do you do? I had to ask myself a question. What do you do when you are the devil? Because sometimes you're not the devil, but sometimes you are the devil, right? The one thing that you have to do when you are the devil, so that heart can heal, so that heart can be right, God's word. That's what you have to eat. Eat. That word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, right? And when the heart heals, then the heart can love. See, we're trying to love without a pulse. We're trying to love without living. We're trying to love without healing, but it is a process, right? Then the heart can love. And there's something so amazing about love because you will never get the best out of anyone, not even yourself, without love. Love brings out the best. I think it was Vanessa Bell. I'm sure they wrote a song, You Bring Out the Best in Me. God's love bring out the best in us. When we have love, you know, from the love of God, the love with your partner, the love with your children, your husband, it brings out, it has a way, love has a way of connecting you to eternity. It just doesn't stop. One of my favorite symbols is the eternity symbol. It just doesn't end. It just keeps going. And so that first book is devoted to, and I'll tell this piece because it's one of the first pieces that's in there. It's called Blessed. Because when I was 14, I thought I died a couple times because I was kidnapped, right? And I had to jump out of a moving vehicle. The guy was coming after me, and I didn't know if I was going to make it. I don't even know how I opened the door to jump out of the car. I don't even know why I jumped out of the car, but I know I was asleep in the car, and God woke me up and said, the car is moving. And I said, oh, that's my cousin. Well, why would he be driving? But I had to get out. And so the reason that I called it Blessed is because after going through all of that, I jumped out of the car. I didn't know you're supposed to tuck and roll, right? I jumped out feet first. It was like 92 when I had on my cute purple Jodeci boots, right? Y'all don't know nothing about that if you ain't around me, you know. But I remember getting back to my mom, and she recognized me way down the street because this is the amazing part. Watch how good God is. He just so happened to turn down the street that my aunt lived on. Just so happened. And I jumped out the car and ran to her house. Now, for whatever reason, he was coming after me, okay? But when the porch light came on, he ran off and got into the car. And so I remember the officer telling my mom, he said, oh, your daughter is 14. Now, I was in the front seat, so he was very well aware of there was a person in the car. And he said, you will be on your way right now to California, even Detroit, Chicago, because there's human trafficking that is so prevalent right now. He said, y'all are lucky. And my mother looked at me and she said, we're blessed. But after that, the process was, I was afraid to go home because my mother's purse was in the car. And he took the purse after we found it. And I'm like, he knows where we live because he wanted me, right? So after I knew I was still alive, I had to heal from that fear and that torment. So that was a process. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so that's just a part of that story, of that. There's so much more in there that, you know, reflecting on it just takes me back somewhere. And any questions? I'm just,
yeah. I want you to share with us the broken heart.
The broken heart, and it's in there. The broken heart, from my experience, one of the main ways that we have, or I have gotten my heart broken, is one word: expectation. Expectation can make you, break you, shake you, quake you, wake you. Okay, expectation is so powerful because what you expect and you do not get can break you. Okay, and it has broken me. But what you expect and you do get can make you. Okay, it says that I think it was Langston Hughes says a dream deferred dries up like a raisin in the sun. So when you have an expectation and it does not happen, you kind of feel like that raisin in the sun, that prune that dried up. And so we have to learn where to place our expectations. We have to learn even when, because timing is everything. We have to be as the sons of Issachar, right? To discern our times and our seasons and to know, oh, wait, don't do it right now. Just hold on. You know, I don't know about y'all, but I've had some hold ons and I still got some hold ons. Like, and you be like, now if I would have did this back then, it wouldn't have made it. I wasn't ready. It wouldn't have been as, it wouldn't have blossomed like it did. Or sometimes you'd be like, oh, I did that too soon. God, why didn't I wait? Right? We all had those moments. I know. But expectation can be a heartbreaker or a heart maker. One of my uh, greatest disappointments, well, not one of my greatest, but it's a, you know, a real disappointment. I was in school and I was so excited and I was studying for my master's and I was like, oh, I'm going to write this capstone about experiencing kidnapped, and I was ready to tell the story that I just told. And the director of that in my group told me that it sounded too good to be true. This true story. And you're talking about my heart was crushed because they literally made me take my story and embellish it and do all of this, and I had to do it for the grade, right? But I had that expectation, like I'm just about to tell this story, and then he was like, no, it's too good to be true, and just cut it. I mean, I tell you, ripped it to shreds, and I was right back at ground zero. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my great experiences of heartbreak is expectation.
Okay, so share with us, because what are you doing? Are you helping women? Are you going around speaking? Like, what are you doing now?
I am. I've been speaking to a few places. You know, a lot of times people come in for spoken word, you know, because that's my thing. You give me some words, I can write something in a couple minutes, you know. But there is um, an igniting in me to just help the women, and I speak. And one thing that I have going on is I have a couple people who's writing books, and they always ask. And so on January the 8th. I'm doing a free writing seminar. I'm not even charging for this one, right? It's absolutely free. But, and I don't know about you all if you ever experienced writer's block, right? There's a 10-year span between both of those books that I wrote. So writer's block is absolutely real. But I learned to use my senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you feel? To push past writer's block. And I did this seminar before last year, and it was, you know, the feedback was very helpful. So January the 8th, if you want that information, I'll give it out. Anybody is welcome to come. It will be virtual. I know, you know, we still kind of, you know, but yes, if they send an email to 60secondspark at Gmail, I will send you all the information and you can get right in and we can go from there. 60 SIXTY spark at Gmail.
Okay. And I know later I want you to read a piece from your book. And so just hold on. I want to go to Jasmine. And so, Jasmine, welcome.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Yes, yes. So, in the middle. So, share with us, how did you get here, right? As an author. Mm-hmm.
So 2017 I deem as my year of faith. End of 2016, my friends and I at the time were all on a spiritual journey to just be better and get closer to God. And so there's a book called The Faith Dare by Debbie Alsdorf. And so from January 1st to January 31st of 2017, we did that book. And so through that, we were also very into Heather Lindsay at the time. Heather Lindsay had the Pinky Promise, has the Pinky Promise Conference, and she's an author and a minister and all these things. But we were doing her journal challenge. So throughout that process, we're growing in our faith, we're journaling, and just saying all these things that we wanted God to do. And so throughout that time, God had really been already been speaking to me about becoming an author. And had given me some ideas and things, but I was like, I don't know, okay, whatever. I told my friends about it, and they're like, well, we gonna pray for you, whatever. So fast forward to July of 2017, we went down to Atlanta for the Pinky Promise Conference. And so Heather Lindsay, she was, real big at the time, so that was my focus, like just being able to be in the room in the space. Heather Lindsay had a speaker who spoke on how to write your book in 90 days. Her name is Carolyn Roberts, and so in between sessions, they have all the vendors, and so ended up at Carolyn's table. And she had the book, and so she, I got the book. She signed the book, and she was speaking to me, and all those great things. And so I'm like, okay, God, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So we'll figure it out, right? So the irony of the story is we're in worship that night, and so when I'm around at the time when I was around my friends, I'm like, oh, I can't do certain things. I can't be free in my worship. I can't speak in tongues because I don't want nobody looking at me crazy and all these different things. But when the spirit just hits, you don't have no control over it. You just have to let it go and do what it does. And so I end up in worship and like I fall out. And so there was a young lady they had aisle workers. And so they had a young lady that was praying with me. And so I was like, okay, cool. But in the midst of it, I'm down and I'm in worship and I'm just in this moment and it shifts and I can hear her voice, but I'm like, this isn't the person that was originally praying for me. Out of a crowd of probably 2,000 people, Carolyn, with her little pregnant self, finds Jasmine. Wow. She finds me. She's 8 months pregnant, I believe, at the time. She gets down, and I just remember her speaking so clearly to me about the book that God was going to have me write and all the things that were going to be in it, how he was going to use all of the things that I had been through to impact women and all those different things. And so I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. Okay. So I wrote the outline when I got home. I read the book all the way home. Was like, okay, cool, bet I can do this in 90 days. And 90 days turned into 180 days. And then that turned into a year. And then that turned into 2 years. And so 2020, I've been writing on and off during all the process, but just kind of getting in my own way, why am I doing this? Or maybe I'm just not ready to talk about this. And so God had kept giving me little messages like, you need to get it done. You need to get it done. And so 2020, we're at home, COVID, quarantined, all of that. And God literally just spoke and said, look, you don't get this book done. You're going to watch somebody get all of the blessings that you were supposed to get because you have not been obedient to what I told you to do. So I said, oh, okay. Well, I don't want that to happen because I don't want to have no blood on my hands. I don't want to have anybody negatively impacted because I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And so I sat down, I set a deadline for the book, and just began to go through the process of finishing it and, going through. And so the one chapter that was just really hard for me was the chapter that I wrote about my mother. I didn't grow up with my mom. I moved away from my mom at age 8, and from 8 until mid-20s, we had a up and down type of relationship. And so, when my mom had cancer. She had cancer 3 times, and so when we knew that she was passing, one of the things that was spoken to me was like, you got to let all that stuff go. Like, you don't know how much time you got with your mom. You need to just do whatever y'all need to do. And so, just being able to take a step back and write about that process of what I felt and going through as a mom, as a daughter who felt like a motherless child, and then having my own daughters, and now having to write about the experience of losing my mom was very hard. But when God set that deadline, I was like, I gotta do it. And so I gave myself until 11:59. I believe it was on April the 22nd, 2020. I finished the book at 2:55 or something like that a.m. Going into the 22nd. So I just had to just get out of my own way and just do what God told me to do. And here it is. It's in the middle.
Absolutely. Powerful. Powerful. And that's what I want you guys to really understand too. When you see people here and it seems like they are in positions that you would like to be in. It's a process. It's we don't just write it on paper and then it becomes a book. Like we had to live through some stuff, right? We had to live through some rejection. We had to live through some misunderstandings, whether it's from other people or us misunderstanding our own process. So to hear you and to sit with you ladies, I am like honored. I am honored. I am excited. So we got to dig deeper because that's what I was going to ask you. What was the most difficult part of this? And so, what would you say to someone who believes that they have a story to tell? They want to write their book, but they're concerned about what others may say.
So I would say, just as you talked about, you have to heal. One of the things that God has always spoken to me about different things that I've gone through and how He's going to use that to connect me with other women is that you have to heal so that you're not bleeding on the people, that your wounds aren't being opened and your issues aren't pouring onto them, so then they can't get what they need to be able to move forward. So I had to take the steps to get healing. From 2013, maybe 2014, all the way up until now, I've been in and out of therapy. Even in being a therapist myself, because how can I tell you to heal? How can I tell you to learn coping skills? How can I tell you to deal with the spirit of rejection and abandonment and trauma and all these different things? And I'm not doing it myself. So I want to be a living testament in all that I do to say, if I went through this and I can get the healing, you can too. You know what I mean? So I had to take that time. And so it just was going through those different things and really just taking a step back so that I didn't allow my emotions to take over and bash people or different things of that nature, because you don't want to hurt people with your writing. And I think a lot of times when people go through things, they're like, well, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to tell it all and I'm going to let it go. And I mean, you could, but what good does that do? Because now you're causing more issues and your witness is tainted because of that. So take the time to really look over what it is that you've gone through and how you want to present it. And I always want to, encourage people, present it from a healed space, because healing leads to healing. So once we talk about being healed, and yes, there's some things that we will be healed from, but there's a process of continuing healing. Yeah. So as I'm healing, you can begin your healing, and as you're healing, somebody's going to see you so they can get into their process of healing. So that's what it's all about. It's all about us being able to connect with one another to get to that process. So that would be the biggest thing for me, if it's more, from a personal standpoint, get that healing process started.
Absolutely. Now you said you were a therapist, right? Okay. What happened that in your own life that inspired you to want to counsel?
I didn't. Open confession, good for the soul, bad for the reputation. It was not. It's so crazy because I wanted to be a high school guidance counselor. My high school guidance counselors were amazing influences for me. But I'm the one that can talk myself out of something. You don't want to pursue that because, your stepmom is an educator. And at the time, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my stepmom. So I always could talk myself out of doing something because I didn't want to be like somebody. Even if they were doing great in it, it was just my way of probably being rebellious and all those different things. So I went to UT for psychology. Getting in psychology, and you're like, okay, I want to learn about the mind, but I didn't realize we was going to be learning about dopamine and serotonin and neurons and all those different types of things. And so it wasn't in my mind what I thought I was called to do or what I wanted to do. And so, by the time I was like, oh, maybe I should change my major, I'm a junior now. I'm not going for another 2 years to switch my major. So I'm like, okay, I'm finished it out. And so, kept going on. And so when I got ready, I got a master's right after that. So I go into the job field and I didn't research beforehand. Come to find out, Toledo is a social work city. You know what I mean? It's mental health, it's education, and it's factory work and medical. So medical wasn't it. I don't want to work in the factory because I've seen the impact it's done to my family. I'm not into education, so mental health is what I can get into because my degrees qualify me for it, even if it's not, top paid positions and stuff. So go through, get hired, start working in the field, realize I can't move up unless I get my license. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to school, get my master's again. All I want is a raise. I want to be able to take care of me. It was just me and my daughter at the time. That's all I want. But once again, God had other plans for my life and being on that faith journey. And so 2017, as a part of that faith journey, about May, he started speaking about going into private practice. And I'm like, what? Look, God, I told you when the CBT class came that I wasn't doing therapy. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so, to make a long story short, did an interview with someone, thought I was going to get it. Basically, they never called me back. And so I was like, okay, God, I heard you. I know I heard you. You told me to do this. So I put in put my resume out there. When a lady called, I had a phone interview. Phone interview went well. Went to the office to meet her and her partner. Thought it went well, but now I'm not getting a call. So I'm like, oh man, God, what are you doing? Like, so they emailed me and said, we're still doing some things, blah blah blah. So then I get the email to say, yes, we want you to come be a part of our practice. So I'm like, okay, bet, cool. So the first day when I went and got my keys, the lady said, I had a dream about you that God showed me that it was going to be you, but I didn't know because obviously we had only met by phone. But she said when you walked in the door, I knew that you were the one. And from that experience, it was just God sent. And even when it was time for me to leave from that practice and transition into being my own business fully, when I said to her, "Yes, it's my time to leave," she said, "I already knew that. God had already told me. God told me it was time for you to step into the next, but I didn't want to be the one to tell you. I wanted you to figure it out for yourself." So that's how I really got into the process of being a therapist. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. Once again, when God is telling you to do something, you have to be obedient to it. And it may not work out the first time, it may not work out the second time, but you keep going and you keep going through the process and trusting Him, and He'll lead you where you need to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Do you have any questions right now? With that? Okay. Y'all liking her? Yep. Y'all loving this? Okay. Okay. Awesome. So I wanna pass the book, the second volume, right, to Latoya. Just pass that to her. And while she's because I want her to read a piece. But while she's doing that, Jasmine, what else are you doing? Because I know we don't want to just stop at okay, I wrote my book and so now I'm just sitting down twiddling my thumbs or whatever. What else are you doing?
I'm doing a lot, honestly. Probably too much at sometimes, but I just believe when you have a great call in your life, God calls you to do great things, and so you just learn to be balanced and all of that, so it doesn't lead to burnout and all of that. But currently, tomorrow's the last day, but you can go on my social media pages and catch the replays of it. We're in the midst of the Believing Bigger challenge. Believing Bigger is where you start out, you write out your biggest, your baddest, your boldest prayers that you want to see God answer from now until whenever. And we get on live at 7 a.m. each and every morning. So we've been doing it since Monday. I just share whatever God has for me to share, and I pray over the list. I pray over all of the men and women who are a part of it, and just helping to encourage people to step into that big faith. Like I said, since 2017, faith has been it for me. I have nothing else to rely on but the faith that I have in God, that He's led me into so many different things. So we're doing that. I am planning to bring the Pretty Powerful Purposeful Conference back in 2021. I got in my own way with some things and some thoughts that I had about myself in that, but it's coming back. God has already shown me the place. I just need to be obedient to that and do it. And then, of course, I'm a therapist, so blessings in disguise, counseling and coaching, constantly expanding. I went from being a solo practitioner to now having 4 contracted therapists with me who are all doing amazing work and just connected with me in the faith, and they believe in the vision that God has given me. So that's just a little bit of what I do. What type of being in ministry and all those different things, but everything I do, I feel like relates to ministry. So that's what it is.
Absolutely. I love it. Yes.
Question. They want to know, did you guys have any writing skills or be trained to write?
Have you been trained to write, or did you have any writing skills prior to writing your book?
So I'm a serial educationist, so I'm currently in school again. So writing is what I do, but it's different than writing a book, so to speak, because with writing in school, you're getting research and paraphrasing and all of that. With this, it's from the heart, so you learn how to be creative and flow however it is that you need. You find your own voice. I think that's the bigger piece of it, is just finding how you're meant to speak. She's a poet. I know she has other things that she writes and does, but poetry is the way that she speaks and her voice comes out. I connect with utilizing personal things that I've gone through and combining them with spiritual lessons to be able to share my story and impact people. So it's just finding your own way to do it, being authentic, writing from the heart, not writing to please people or think about what they're going to think about it, but just being you, and allowing God to be in the midst of that process to know what's time, when it's time to release something and when it's not time to release something.
Awesome. Okay, Latoya.
Yeah, I would say when you really talk to most authors, probably 9 out of 10 are not trained to write. They had an experience and they wanted to share that experience. Probably 5 out of 10 don't even write their own books. They have ghostwriters, but they have a story to tell. And so what trains you to write is your life experience. That's your training right there. Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any other questions so far? All right, awesome, awesome. So, are you ready? You want to read one of your pieces?
Oh yes, I'm gonna read. It's called Black Girl, and actually I've started to turn this some of my poems and pieces into audio. And so this one that I'm going to read is actually available on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon and all of that. It was inspired by myself being a black girl and all the black girls I taught in the school system for almost 20 years. And I've seen a lot of, little black girls. I mean, I've taught all kinds of girls, but I only know what it's like to be a black girl, okay? And unless you've been one, you really don't know what it's like to be a black girl, okay? Amen.
Yeah.
But this is called Black Girl, and it goes, "Hey, black girl." I said, "Hey, black girl, you got magic. You've got magic. Don't let them tell you that you are overconfident, because they don't know the days, the nights, or the hours that you have spent trying to discover exactly who you are, struggling with negative criticism from near and far. Black girls got magic. You didn't know? You couldn't tell when you came to the show. Whether it's in our everyday conversation, our self-evaluation, the high standards that we set, like our dreams with no limitations. Sometimes it's in that powerful feminine presence that we bring. Sometimes it's in that melodic, harmonious song that we sing, "Hey, black girl." I said, "Hey, black girl, you got magic. You've got magic." Black girls got magic. We strive to be the very best. Though labeled at the bottom of the totem pole, we've accomplished great success. So remember, black girls, you ain't got to hide. Let your power resonate. Fill the entire room with your stride. Chin up. Speak out. Loud and clear. Shun intimidation and have no fear. Shine bright and be an unstoppable force. Answer to the call of a purposeful life and always keep God first. Hey, black girl. I said, "Hey, black girl. Use your magic. You got it."
Okay, watch this. Did y'all feel that? Y'all feel that power? Y'all feel that power? You see why we are attacked as black girls? You see why it's so easy for us not to like each other or get along with one another? But it was a shift in the atmosphere when you sung that. When you read that poem, like, hey, it wasn't just about my black girl, right? It wasn't just about the sisters that I'm connected to, but it's all of us. And it just did something. No competition, right? Right? No competition. It's like we're basically pushing one another to be and pulling, right, to be great. If you listen, those of you who are watching, if you're not connected with a group of women that supports you, that's not competing with you, that wants to pull you up and see you be great, you are definitely in the wrong space. You are definitely in the something just shifted in this atmosphere. I know, right? So if you think that women can't get along, right, especially black women, you just haven't connected with the right people. You just haven't. And so even with bringing these ladies on, it was just they followed the instructions, right? God put it on my heart, and now they're here. It's not about, so those who you see on the show, it's not that they're a part of a clique or, my circle. I don't even really sit and talk. We don't have each other number and, all of that. No, what we have is like-minded. Our spirits are joined because we simply want to use our story, the mess that we came from, to be able to share with somebody else, to let you know you don't have to stay there, to let you know that you got what? You got magic. I love it. Ah! Y'all know I get excited. Y'all, honey, listen. Okay, so watch this. So here's the segue. Because as she was reading the poem, I grabbed a chapter in Jasmine's book that says, "Pretty is a mindset." Jasmine, would you elaborate on that? Pretty is a mind. You mean it ain't about the hair you have and the clothes you wear? What?
It's so funny because that you bring that, because I was actually thinking about that on the way here. But this morning when we were on live, I talked about taking the trash out. And for me in this process, even now, I've had to learn how to take the trash out. I had to get rid of all of those negative thoughts that I believed about myself in order to see the woman that you see here today. I didn't get to this place where not caring about what people have to say about me or dealing with rejection and abandonment and all those things because I let all of that sit in my head. But I had to take the time and put in the work to say I am fearfully and wonderfully made, that I am beautiful, that God loves me, and that because he loves me, he purposed me. And because he purposed me, I can walk worthy of the call and the destiny that he has on my life. I had to change my mindset. So I had to clean out my mind, and not even just clean out my mind, but even last night I was thinking about some things, and as God was sharing, I had to go through my phone and clean that out because I was holding on to text messages that even though I didn't have to read them, I was repeating all those words and dealing with feeling like, oh my God, I've been going through stuff in my marriage, I've been going through stuff, and it's impacted how I see myself. That's not it. 2020 stuff gotta go. 2019 stuff gotta go because I want to be in 2022 walking how I'm supposed to walk, seeing myself how I'm supposed to see myself, living how I'm supposed to live. So I gotta clear my mind. You gotta let it go. And so that was a part of that, in learning how to deal with all of those things that I held towards myself, all of the mistakes and all of the issues and all of the things. I gotta let it go. I'm not there anymore. You're not there anymore. And the more that you hold yourself there, my pastor gave me an example. It's like the elephant that's tied to the little chair, but the chair can move, but he's staying stuck because he think he's stuck to the chair because the chain is there, but you're not really stuck. I can bring that with me as I'm walking and as I'm moving. It's swinging that chair so that rope moves, and the rope gets destroyed and it comes up off of us. So now that I'm free, so you gotta walk in your freedom. The more that you walk, the more the chains just get loose. The more that the chains get loose, the more that they open up. When they fall, they destroy. So they can't hold you to that no more. So you gotta change your mindset. You gotta change your mindset.
Yes. Okay, we have a question. Woo! Wait, y'all. Now oh my God! Look at them in the audience. Right? Come on, give us the question. It's a question, y'all.
Have either of you ladies thought about putting your book into an audio book?
Yes, it's a process. It's a process. So, when I find some time, yes, I will put it on an audiobook.
It is. So like I said, the Black Girl, the piece that I just read, is available on iTunes, Spotify, every digital media outlet. I actually have an EP that is complete that I am releasing next month. It's about like 18 minutes long, and it's like 6 tracks. So it's everything that's, well, not everything, but some of the things that are on here. So yes.
Latoya, when you speak, how did you get here? How did you? Because it's something. It's, as I'm listening to, I'm like, this don't come. Listen, y'all, that anointing is not pretty. And so y'all can see her and she can be looking all good right now. How did you get here?
Perseverance, okay? It's something that you asked earlier about telling your story. And, what Jasmine said is very correct. And that's how I was for a long time. And I'm still that way, but I have evolved just a little bit because I understand that we overcome not just by the blood of the Lamb, but by the words of our testimony. And I had to realize that I may be the antagonist in your story. You may be the antagonist in my story. It ain't going to all be pretty. Okay, we can keep talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and a big old Negro, but at some point, you got to be willing to talk about your story. You know what I mean? It came through perseverance. You know, I always tell people there was a time in my life, and I'll share this part for somebody, hopefully to help somebody and their mother, right? I taught for like 20 years. That first year of teaching, I caught the bus to work with my students. So it takes perseverance, humility. He said that he gives grace to the humble. So I guess you can say that part of humility and being downtrodden, but yet persevering and smiling, because you got to understand where you are is not where you're staying. Don't ever allow anything to muzzle you. Trials come, the enemy comes, you go through things so it can stifle you. One of my greatest, most trying times of my life, I was at a church for 10 years. It closed down. I won't go into details, but that experience almost took the life out of me and stifled and silenced me. But about a month later, 6 months before that happened, God gave me these three words: 60-second spark. He said, people can get more out of a minute than you can sometimes out of 45 minutes. On January the 13th of 2019, I started, you might see him on Facebook, 60-second spark, right? It just looked like he's cute. Well, that got me through. I'm almost at the 200th episode right now. On January the 13th next year, I will be releasing my third book called Spark Your Life, right? It's a 21-day devotional of just 60 seconds a day. 60 seconds a day, how you can be sparked, because how you get here is you got to persevere. When you want to die, you can't die. When you did die, you got to keep breathing and get back up, because there is a part. When you don't want to heal, you got to stand up and get recovered. When you feel like it's all over and it's all done and there's nothing left, you better shake them pants, because something's going to fall out. There's something left.
Yes.
What is considered trash is in that book. What someone else would consider trash, or what you would consider trash, somebody will go behind that building and dig it up, and it'll be a treasure, a lifelong treasure for them. So like you said, take the trash out, take it out. But that trash might be somebody else's treasure, might be somebody else's lifeline. How I got here is perseverance. How I got here is 10, 15-year friendships dying just like that, when I ain't have nothing to do with it, when I know I was good, but I had to let it go. How I got here was getting fired from a job that I gave my all, 100%. It was over and done. Didn't know why I was fired. Wanted to go back and give him, but God said, don't go back. And he gave me recompense, lost wages *5. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
That's how you get here. You persevere.
Woo, yes.
You keep pushing.
Yes.
Through the storm, through the rain, through it all.
Yes. Yes. Oh my. Yes. Y'all want to know how to get here? Listen, you have to press. You have to endure. You said through loss of jobs, and you was faithful. Through loss of friends, and you was faithful. Y'all want to know how to get here? This is not easy. This is not easy, but it's worth it. It is worth it. Absolutely. Go ahead.
One thing that I want to say, because I love how you talk about obedience. One of my favorite, especially this whole year, if you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. No matter how bad it seems, there is good in the land. You know why? Because there are seeds that have been planted. There are seeds that your mama planted, your grandmama planted, your great-grandmama planted, your auntie planted, your great-aunt. You planted.
Yes.
They got to come up. So if you are willing and obedient, you're going to eat from those seeds that were planted, which is the good of the land.
Absolutely. Any questions right now? Look, while we in the intermission. Wow. Okay, I'm excited, y'all. You know we could stay in this space for a minute. I'm sitting up here like, okay, Jasmine, when you doing that conference? Look, I mean, no, seriously. And I don't take this for granted, because everybody don't have the opportunity to be in this type of space. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? To be able to be amongst individual women, right, who sincerely wants to see the good in them. right? To see them fulfill their God purpose, to see them heal from things that was meant to destroy them. To help them not be in competition with somebody else because of external. I tell people all the time, what you see, if you think this is good, get a feel of my heart. If you think this, and so that's the thing. So I love that chapter. Pretty is a mindset. How are you seeing this thing, right? How are you seeing you? And so I am excited. Look at my man back there. He's like, I'm here too, And then Jasmine doing her thing. I missed. I didn't miss it. You said men and women is on with you at 7 a.m. Okay, and how was that going?
Let me give you. So 2020, conference is booked. Supposed to be downtown at the hotel. COVID hits. So it was literally, I think it was like Wednesday that they finally said, no, we're not going to allow you to have it because of the CDC guidelines and stuff like that. So okay, whatever. So God was still telling me to do it. So there was somebody that God told me to take out of the lineup for the conference, and I was like, God, but we done already got promo, we done already all these things. And so when I switched it to the virtual aspect, I didn't get the response that I wanted to receive from it. And now and having to reflect and see that I was disobedient, that was why, right? So instead of taking accountability and say, okay, God, I did wrong, I began to beat myself up. And I began to say, okay, well, I'm not going to do anything else. Forget the conference, I did Believe Bigger last year, but it was like, all right, whatever. So when God brought Believe Bigger back this year, I fought because I'm just like, this is heavy. I don't know. And so I had a date in my mind, didn't do the promo like I was supposed to. And literally Black Friday, he was like, look, I just need you to pick a date. Don't worry about nothing else. Don't worry about how it's going to come together. Don't worry about anything else. And so, okay, I put the promo out. So then this past Sunday, I'm not on Facebook because I'm running around doing stuff. My grandmother's in the hospital, so I'm going back and forth. And so Tiara puts her thing out. And so the enemy wanted me to get into my mindset and say, well, because she's doing it, maybe you need to move yours, or because she's doing it. And it was like, no, two lights can shine at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, T's doing hers in the evening, I'm doing mine in the morning. And from what I can see from the comments, we're so in line with one another. And the crazy thing is, we didn't talk until midnight on Sunday just to say, hey, we see what each other doing. How can we connect? How can we pray for one another? How can we push each other through? We haven't talked about one message. We haven't talked about anything like that, but it's been in sync. And so just being, once again, when you are obedient to what God has told you to do, it goes exceedingly and abundantly above anything that you could think. So we have to get out of our own way and just do what he said. And
that is so awesome, right? How many times do we talk ourselves out of things, right? Because we think somebody else has done it already. If that was the case, neither one of us would be here as authors, right? Because we can say there's so many authors out there, right? But that had to be a challenge, right? When you see, somebody else say we're doing this, and then so I'm glad you persevered, and you said it's connected. You a part of it? You on both of them? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. Look, right. Okay. I thank you for your obedience. For your obedience in the midst. And that's the thing, right? It's like your ability to be able to do it anyway, right? To just go and do it anyway, no matter what it looks like, right? No matter the judgment, no matter any of that, because you're changing and saving lives. And so absolutely. Okay, any other questions, y'all? Because I don't want to belabor the time. We're not rushing because when God is in the midst, we got to go over. We're going to go over. But I want to make sure we answer any questions, any comments that you have. Where are you? Where are you? It's like, where are you? Talk.
Yeah. Where am I? I am so, I'm at peace. I'm definitely at peace because I've had to, like I said, that was true about, getting released from my job. You know what I mean? But oh my gosh, baby, let me tell you something. It sure benefited me because there's so many other things that I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like with the book seminar. So I have a publication company where we help people go through the self-publishing process, editing, formatting, all of that. We've even added on graphic design. Like this book cover, I literally the day that I got fired, the very next day I went and designed this book cover because I taught myself how to do it. Because what God does, if we allow Him through those rejections,
Yes.
He causes a creativity to take place in us. He said, if it's in Him that we live and move and have our being, the first thing that the Bible says that He did was what? He created.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I am at this place of creativity and I love it. I got a book coming out in January. I got another book coming out in June.
Yeah.
And I am just
Wow.
excited. I thank God.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. All right. All right, Jasmine. Any last minute comments, takeaways? What do you want the people to take away from this process?
Whether it's being an author, whether it's being a musician, songwriter, therapist, whatever it is, do it with purpose. Find what your reasoning is. Like I said, living in a world where, in this day and time, everybody can become a life coach. You can become an author. You can become this and you can become that. It doesn't matter that the number of it because no one can do what you do the way that you do it. You just have to walk in the purpose and the way that God aligns you to do it. So stop looking to the left and stop looking to the right and stay focused in the lane that God has for you. Because when you do that and you stay with the purpose, the blessings come. I'm a witness that once again, I didn't see myself being a therapist. I didn't see myself having my own business. I didn't see myself now having 4 contracted therapists. But because I walked and did what He told me to do, He expanded and enlarged my territory so much. And it's not even about the money, right? Because so many times we get focused on the money will come. Yeah. But when you do what you're supposed to do, the doors of opportunity open, the connections come, the moments of elevation and all of that comes. So just stay with the purpose that God has for your life and watch Him work.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, any questions? Any questions from the ladies in the audience? Y'all good? They answered all of them. You have any questions, Joy? Great. Okay. All right. What? Did y'all feel God? Did y'all see God? You about to take off? Right. That's what happens when you just allow Him to use you, right? When you're unhindered, don't care about who can judge you or what they will say, because guess what? The ones who need to hear you have heard you, right? The ones that need to hear you has heard you. And one of the things I always say is, there's some people that I can't reach, that they only want to hear Jasmine. They only want to hear Latoya. And so if you allow me to silence your voice, there's a whole generation of people that goes unhelped, because all of us have been anointed for a specific people. All of you have been anointed for a specific people. And you have to be able to say that confidence, right, that you need to just allow God to use you. It's not being perfect, right? It's not about that, right? It's about being consistent and being willing and obedient. And so as you begin to do that, I pray even now that those of you who are watching have gotten some, man, y'all, if we interrupted the service, look, if we interrupted the process, forgive us, you know what I'm saying? It's like, really, I knew this was going to be dynamic. These are some bad sisters, right? These are some dope sisters. Now, when I say dope, delivered, open-minded, powerful, and effective. So don't get it twisted. These ladies have endured some things, and they are being effective in their lane. And so again, I would like for Latoya to share with you her event. Again, I would like for Jasmine. I know it should be going across the screen where you can purchase the book and all of that. Again, Jasmine Pope in the middle. Her book can be purchased on Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon. And again, Latoya Williams. She has 2 volumes, and so they can be purchased on Amazon, but they're somewhere. Okay. Okay. And would you just share with us the event that you're having for those who may be looking to write?
Okay, yes, it's called Use Your Senses. It's a writing seminar on January the 8th at 10 a.m. Just give me an hour of your time. And if you send an email to 60secondspark at gmail and just say writing seminar, I'll send you all the information. You can bring a friend. It's not even limited seating. This is one that I love to do. And believe me, if you are writing a book, if you are a student and you have writer's block, if you do not have writer's block but just need that extra boost of creativity, it's really dynamic. I'm not just saying it because, but I know it has helped me with using my senses. So yeah. And Black Girl you can get on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, all of that, to all my Black girls.
Yes. And Jasmine, okay. Now I know you're doing the thing and tomorrow is the last day. What I just see you doing it like next week, Monday to Friday, and then the following week. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not fair, right? For those who may not have heard it, and now you about to stop it, and some great things is happening. So we got to like run it back, right? Because we got to prepare the people for this new year. Oops, I put her on the spot.
Well, let's run it back. Next week we'll be on Monday through Friday. Jasmine Lynn Enterprises. We gonna make it happen.
Yes. Okay. So those of you who have Facebook, follow her, Jasmine Lynn Enterprises. Jasmine Lynn Enterprises. Follow her. I'm telling you, at 7 a.m., right? She running it back. She running that thing back.
We're gonna make it happen.
Look, I just put her on the spot. Hey, you gotta be ready in season and out of season. You know what I'm saying? You gotta answer the call. No, seriously, because some people probably didn't even know about it. And so, and I'm even saying Tierra. It's Tierra, right? Mm-hmm. Tierra, is she watching? Look, she like, I ain't even on the show. Right. If she watching, run that thing back. You understand? Because again, yes, it's people that need us. And God didn't bring you out for you to just say, I came out. Mm-hmm. No, it's people that need you. And so open up the floodgates, honey. Open that door up. Get up that.
It's all right. I'm off from the university, so I just take a nap afterwards. We're going to run it back.
All right. So Jasmine Lynn Enterprises on Facebook, you guys. She's going to run it back for us at 7 a.m. starting Monday next week. And we're just going to run it. So you have no excuse why your 2022 look like your 2021. Mm-hmm. You have no excuse. I'm telling you. Either you want it or you don't. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the vessels are here. They're going to share with you the tools that they use in their own lives, right? So they know it worked because it's tried and proven. And so if you stay stuck, baby, you want to stay. What was that man at the by the well, by the water? And he kept saying, the only question was, do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be made whole? And now you saying, but the people. But the people, right? Every time I didn't ask you who was in your way. I just asked, do you want to be, where y'all at? Do you want to be made whole? That's all I want to know. And if you do, follow us. Tune in to Jasmine Lynn on Facebook. Follow. 7 a.m. She's getting up. She's not playing if you're getting up at 7 a.m. Dropping some jewels. She is not playing. All I want to know is, do you want your 2022 to look vastly different than 2021? And if you do, I have a lady here, Latoya Williams, who is hosting information for writers, even if you don't want to be an author and you stuck. She's saying, come, it's free. It's free. What's the date again?
January the 8th at 10.
Okay, and is that virtual?
Yep, it's virtual. So
okay.
You can be in your pajamas.
Right. Ooh, you ain't even got to
in your body. You ain't even got to turn the camera on. You ain't got to put the glue down.
You understand? You ain't got to do none of that. What? Okay.
Get up.
Just get up. Roll over. We removing all the excuses. You understand? Roll over. You understand? You ain't. I remember one time, man, my wig was sideways. My husband was looking at me like, my people be like, take her to church. Please take her to church. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being transparent. Thank you for sharing your journey. What you say? It's never over. Right. Thank you for sharing your journey. You guys, if you can, I mean, give the books for Christmas gifts, whatever. Take it for yourself to have it. I mean, for real. Listen, it's some jewels in these books. And sometimes we stuck because we don't want to read. We don't want to read. And so, again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing what God is going to do through y'all. I'm excited. All right. Can we get some snaps, please? All right. So we're out, y'all. We good. Thank you again for tuning in to Stories of Heroes. You Change Studios.